Let's talk two-start pitchers and sleeper hitters next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Friday, July 8th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White, who just smacked his microphone. Let's talk about Week 15. The schedule is all over the place. We've got 3 teams with 5 games, the Orioles, the Angels, and the Dodgers, 12 teams with 6 games, 11 teams with 7, and 4 teams that have 8 games. That includes the Tigers, the Royals, the White Sox, and the Guardians. The Rockies, they have 7 home games next week, all in Coors Field, 4 against the Padres, 3 against the Pirates, if you want to target any of those hitters, which we'll get to in just a little bit. Starter sit these fringy 2-start pitchers. Scott, we'll start with Chris Sale at the Rays and at the Yankees, maybe.
Yeah, we think he's coming back Tuesday, and that would line him up for 2 starts. Tough matchups, of course. And, his last minor league start didn't go very well. Threw a little tantrum in the tunnel afterward. That was well publicized. But I still think I'd start Chris Sale in most situations. If you go to the site and look at my 2-start pitcher rankings for the upcoming week, he's just outside the must-start tier. So shallow league, deep pitching staff, maybe you'd play it safe, but I don't think most people have that luxury with Sale. They'll be pretty excited to slot him in again.
Sean Manaea has slowed up recently. He's at Coors Field, and he's at home against the Diamondbacks. What do you think?
I lean yes. Yeah, it's kind of been a bumpy ride for him recently, and you never like a start at Coors Field, but I just think Sean Manaea is too important to too many people still, even with his recent struggles.
Will Alex Cobb ever pitch to his underlying numbers? Next week, he's going up against the Diamondbacks and the Brewers.
Yeah, I'm not ready to put my faith in him. That Diamondbacks matchup is pretty enticing, but it's a pass for me.
All right, Graham Ashcraft at the Yankees and at the Cardinals.
Yeah, those matchups are too tough. He's been unreliable lately, too.
Brian Baio made his debut this week. Wasn't a great one, and he's at Tampa Bay on Monday and could be at the Yankees later in the week.
Yeah, we'll see if he ends up making 2 starts. I think given that it's a question, better to steer clear despite the upside.
All right, 2-start pitchers to add and stream for next week. Who do you have?
Okay, so in really shallow leagues, you might be able to find Josiah Gray out there. He gets Seattle in his first start, Atlanta in his second, so that matchup isn't great. But really, I don't even care about the matchup so much with the way he's pitched recently. Last 6 starts, a 2.78 ERA, 107 WHIP, 11.4 Ks per 9. That's Josiah Gray. Jeffrey Springs hasn't been as reliable lately, but remember, he missed a turn prior to his last start, so he may have been a little rusty. And even with him, his less than reliable performance of late, he's still missed a lot of bats. The stuff still seems to be playing up. One of his 2 matchups is against the Orioles this week, so I think Jeffrey Springs is a pretty good play. Merrill Kelly, he gets the Giants and the Padres. Those matchups could be better, but he's kind of the quintessential streamer pitcher, and it wouldn't surprise me if he turned in 2 quality starts, just barely quality starts, like he tends to do. David Peterson is a little bit more of an upside play. He's been getting more whiffs lately and making better use of his slider. His matchups are the Braves and the Cubs. Braves, obviously a tough matchup, but they strike out a lot, and so do the Cubs. And so that might play in Peterson's favor. Chris Flexen has been pretty steady of late. Don't entirely trust it, but his matchups, the Nationals and Rangers, those are pretty good. And then if you need a really deep option, 16% roster, Josh Winder gets the Brewers and White Sox.
All right, let's move over to the hitters. Best hitter matchups for next week: the White Sox, Royals, Padres, Tigers, and Guardians. The worst hitter matchups: Angels, Nationals, Twins, Brewers, and Reds. With that being said, Scott, some sleeper hitters that we're looking to add for Week 15.
Well, you mentioned the Royals have the second best matchups. They're one of 4 teams playing 8 games. I like Vinnie Pasquantino. I know it's been a struggle for him so far, but the strikeout rate is great. The average exit velocity is elite. It's around 95%. Doesn't get much better than that. So it's surprising between those two numbers that he hasn't had more success so far. I think this is his coming out party. And I think the same goes for another recent call-up, Riley Green. Tigers have the fourth best matchups, also 8 games. And the plate discipline's been really good for him so far as well. So definitely get those two in your lineup. Isaac Paredes has been very productive of late. And even though the Rays aren't among the teams with the 5 best matchups, I still like their matchups this week. Like the Marlins matchups this week too. So Garrett Cooper is on here. The Guardians have the 5th best matchups. They have 8 games. Naylor in there for now because not only does he get the 8 games, but they're all going to be against right-handers, at least as things stand now, and he absolutely crushes righties.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.